Hello everyone and welcome to the beautiful Partridge Lakes on Covey 3 we are on, and it's possibly the flipping windiest day of the year so far, I'm going to say. But that leads me in beautifully to what I want to showcase today and what I want to get across, and that is the fish. Thank God, folks, they've finally woken up. Yeah, so they've been feeding, I'm going to say, for 2 or 3 weeks, but not like they are now. Yeah, we had some real nice weather last week. You've only got to look at the watercolour now. The fish are feeding, they're proper on the go, and we're going to go through all things fishing, sort of like short, nice, intimate, sort of like top kit lines, and then maybe top kitting two down the edge, that kind of thing. It's still coming down to depth of water, but baits as well. You still need maggots, but hard pellets are coming into it finally. So micros and expanders always work. You know, we've done loads of videos on them. Hard pellets are proper coming into play now, where it's going to be, yeah, you know, sort of 5 or 6 weeks away maybe, but the fish, the next thing on the agenda is spawning. So these fish need to pack on some weight and get into, you know, they'll see them through all the rigours of spawning and things like that. Now, obviously, the beauty of what I'm going to show you today is that we don't really need to go across there, which is a flipping good thing because it's too windy. Even though it's only like 11, 12 metres or something, trying to hold a pole and get consistency with that rig in the wind, with pellets as well, is going to be an absolute nightmare. So I want to show you, obviously, you can draw these fish really close in and they're more than happy to feed. So baits are dead simple. We'll go through them later on. Rigs wise, literally I've got 2 rigs on the go today. So what I do, so whether you're match fishing or pleasure fishing, I always think it's good to have, you know, a few swims on the go. Now I'm just having 2 on the go today, but match conditions, I'd bring my other edge into play as well, yeah, on my right hand side. But for today, I've got 1 in the depth of water that I'm going to talk you through in a sec, and I've got 1 top kit line as well, which can be phenomenal. Starting off wise, but usually like a little bit later on into the session, so we'll go through that a little bit later. So first things first, it's all about finding the correct depth. Now, I appreciate some venues that you go to, certainly if you're in matches, you are where you are once you've drawn your peg, and you might have like reed line, things like that. That's where plumbing up is like paramount. You simply must be plumbing up on nice clean bottom. Cheeky. And what I mean by that is when you're plumbing up into the reeds, if you've not got bare banking like we have here, if you're feeling like a little bit of resistance on your rig, things like that, you can feel the dead decaying reeds on the bottom, leaves, twigs, things like that, just come a little bit further out into the lake, go away from them. What I've got here is I've got lovely flat blanket. Flat blank, I hope I don't bloody blank, folks. Flat banking, so I can get as tight in as what I need to. However, I'm still a bit conscious, obviously, the fish are feeding, but the water's cold, so I need to choose my depths carefully. Now, you'll often hear, or certainly when I'm coaching, you're looking at 2 to 3 foot when you're fishing on slopes. Winter time, put my rig to 3 foot, go and find it, because you'll always find it on a slope, on a snake lake. Coming into sort of spring, I tend to go for 2.5 foot, and then summertime, I'll get into 2 foot and less, that kind of thing. So instantly, what I've done, which leads me on to the rigs, I've put this to 2.5 foot, which I'll show you. So basically, you get your rig out, off your winder, you put it to 2.5 foot. So you can see that's where we are there. 30 inches, 2.5 foot, and that is just the depth that I'm slightly over depth coming down the slope, yeah? So nice and simple. Nothing complicated with it, and you will find that depth, as I say, on most commercial snake lakes that you go on, unless, you know, Jake, you're panning around there. Obviously, I've got a big reed bed to me right here. I can't get tight into the banking, so I've explained why you need to make sure you're plumbing up carefully if you're on them kind of things. But where you've got banking like I have, flipping heck, it's amazing, folks. So that's the depth. Let's start off with this top end first. So little bobby pot, we'll go through them later, actually. Let me put that one on later. Elastic wise, finally I've stepped up from like, yeah, you know, your single 6s, your single 8s, your 9s Dura hybrid. This is pretty much the only hollow elastic I'll use, and it's the 10s Dura hollow. Jakey of the Fowls put me onto this stuff a few years ago, folks, and it's absolutely amazing. I'll use it all year through, all through summer. It's perfect for like the size of fish that we're going to catch today, stockies. I use it for all my shallow-eyed fishing, things like that. It's just a brilliant elastic, really hard wearing, but soft, forgiving, but when you get it back to your top kit, start pulling, it does lock up and gets them under control super quick. So 10s Dura hollow elastic. Mainline, 0.16 Aki power, no change there. There's no need to step up to go to 018 or anything yet, folks. You know, that's maybe a month or two off yet. So 0.16 Aki power, 2 number 8s back shots as standard, just above the float. And then float-wise, 410s F1 maggot. But why am I not using an F1 pellet? Well, I am fishing pellets, but it might be that I change to maggots. Now, the beauty of a carbon stem, it'll do both, whether I want to fish like, get it down nice and quick, or hold a tight line, fish that bait through the water. With fishing pellets, the fish is still watching your bait down, so it might be that I need to sit and wait for a bite, but more often than not, it'll be a case of leaving it for a minute, 90 seconds, lift the rig out, lay it in again, hold a tight line, and watch that bait through the water, and that's what you get with a carbon stem. So 410s in that depth of water for me is absolutely perfect. Even if it was like really windy, like I'd try and fish this rig over there. If I didn't get any, like obviously presentation, I'd go heavier, but I'd try and get away with as light as possible still for this time of year. And then coming down the rig, got 2 tiny number 13s stots just under the float to really bring that float down. And then coming down the line, we've got a series of 6 number 11 shots. Now, tapered fashion. I'm not going to move these. I just want them in that same position all the time. That's why I'm using shots. As I've said before, hundreds of times, probably bored you all to death. If I was looking to fish through the water a little bit more, I'd be using stots so I could spread them out up my line a little bit more. But if the fish are feeding really confident, I could bulk them, this, that and the other. But still, for the time of year, spread bulk is the one, and number 11s. And then coming down to the hook length, again, we're going a little bit heavier. 0.10s, I don't think we need 0.10s anymore for these fish now, so I'm on a 0.12 Aki power to a size 18 KKM B hook with a tiny little band on there that will sit our hard pellets in, which we'll go through in a bit. So that's me rig for in the edge. My other rig, which is my top kit line, literally all I'm fishing, folks, I'm going to be there, top kit line. It is phenomenal. When they get on that, it's like ridiculous. It's a joke how many fish you can catch in a short space of time, but it's not a line that you can like plunder. You've just got to keep, you know, going back on it, catching 2 or 3, and usually the bigger fish, and then you've got to go and rest it again. But it's hopefully we'll catch some on it, folks. It's not too early in the session. Exactly the same elastic on this one again, 10s Jura hollow. Same main line, you know, back shots again, 0.16 Aki power main line, slightly heavier float because this one, again, it's all about them depths, yeah? So this one I'll set at 4 foot. I'm on a real severe slope there, but set it at 4 foot, go and find it, and as long as you're on your markers, then you know that your bait is on the bottom. So that's what I've done, 4 12s, F1 maggot float, there's 4 foot, yeah? And then coming down the rig, so that one was 11s, and this is just 10s. 10s through the rig, what's on there? 7 number 10 through the rig, and we've got the exact same hook length on, 0.12, 4 inches to a size 18s KKMB with a little babby band on. So dead simple, really simple. So them are the rigs. Bait wise, now I have got some ground bait mixed up. I made the change a couple of weeks ago, folks. Power Scopex. It is if you've not used Power Scopex, what are you doing? It is the best smelling ground bait I think there is out there. But better than that is the fact that it's super crush. It breaks up really quick. Yeah, it's just pure ground expanders with just a few red pellets in there. But the smell of it, folks, honestly, it's ridiculous. Now, if something like that gives you confidence, it's going to make you fish better. Yeah. So I'll always start off. I'll introduce a little bit of ground bait at the start. I'll definitely put it in when we get going. Might put another little bit in after that, but ultimately I don't want to just keep feeding that because these fish are feeding now, folks. I don't want to just keep putting that ground bait in with no food content. That is just an initial, just to get fish in the peg. I'll make a little grape-sized ball up and throw one in there, but that's the only one that I'll feed, just to initially get some fish there, and then I'll feed actual bait over the top. So we've got some ground bait, and look how much there is there. That's like, I've done a level pint of Power Scopex, a level pint of water, put it in a bowl, left it 20 minutes, look how much you get. You get nearly 3 pints of bait. It's ridiculous, isn't it? A 2 kilo bag will last you flipping ages. So that's that. The other thing I've got, hard 4mm pellets. Again, obviously, fantastic bait. It's the noise that attracts the fish. The beauty of our Sonu hard pellets as well, we've got these red tracer pellets in as well. And I've had a sneaky go on here on Monday and Tuesday I've been coaching, and the red pellets were flipping amazing. Caught a few on the normal, the brown pellets, but the red ones just stuck out like a sore thumb. It was so much better. And then when we get to when it comes a bit warmer and fishing up in the water, then red pellets really do work well. So we've got some of them. And last of all, we've just got some Fin Perfect 2mm micros. That's all. Again, micros wise, I don't really want to be feeding loads of these. It can send your peg a little bit scatty sometimes. I certainly don't want to feed any micros there in that depth of water because I haven't got a clue where they're ending up when they're on the bottom. I'd imagine with this wind, we're going to possibly on that line, maybe not there, we're going to have a little bit of undertow. Yeah, so that's going to be pushing light baits around like that all the time. But I will be putting a few in, again, just as initial to get fish in your peg. Micros are a phenomenal bait, but you've got to be really careful with how many you feed. If you're feeding too many fish in your peg, liners, far lookers, and we don't want that. So that is what I'll be putting a few in to start off with. And then that's it, just dead simple. So I think we need, because it's an one, we need to get going, don't we? Right, let me get this rig then. So I'm going to use that top kit as a guide. This is the one that I'm fishing in the edge. I'm going to start off in the edge, and I'm just going to get a few 4mm there. So what you'll see me doing is, not all the time, but I'll be regularly introducing 2 to 4 4mm. It's almost like, I mean, meat's banned on here now. It's almost like meat fishing. You all know how much meat works well this time of year, you know, coming out of winter into early spring. They flip in the door. So you almost want to treat that line like that in regards to feeding it. And then I'm going to put a tiny little great size nugget in there, straight on it, and that's it. I'm not going to put any more ground bait in there. I'm just going to use them 4mm. So we'll have the little babby toss pot on. Let's get him on there. I do want to use a pot, but it's the noise of them 4mm pellets. I want to, you know, introduce them by feeding you. You can hear the noise. It's almost like casters. Now, you don't have to worry about drawing fish up in the water there because, you know, you're right on top of the fish. You might get the odd liner and stuff like that, but you're not going to attract loads and loads of fish shallow there for the noise of the bait, simply because there's just too much commotion going on, especially with me right over the top of them as well, you know what I mean? So, hook bait wise, let's start off with, a brown pellet, little 4mm. Remember me saying I just want to put a little bit of ground bait in first just to attract them fish into the peg, but I will put some micros in as well. So tiny, what we're talking about there, hardly any. You in on that, Jakey? Hardly any. What's that, like 20, 30, 45 micros, something like that. Push them in. Now with this ground bait, I don't want to feed it loose like it is, even though it's over wet. I've taught you this before, haven't I? Them little fingers there, I'm coming into my ground bait, getting my little ball, like so, making it into a ball, and then the beauty of these little small Preston pots, you can force that in so it'll stay in there. Then when I'm in my peg, I'll dip this under the water, lift it up, give it a little plop so it goes into position nice and just nice, basically, folks, you know what I mean? So, right, let's get into position. I'm not going to put any 4mm in, hard pellets to start off with, so I want to potentially throw a few of them in over the top. First thing you want to do now, with all slopes, make sure your rig's coming back against the slope. So I'm going to flick that rig out into the lake first, come back over my marker. Now it's so important that you're on your markers because you're on the slope. Twist that over so it's down, up, give it a tap, and then just draw your float over it. That's all. Then hold a tight line. Now obviously I've got me top kit swim on the go, so I want to make sure, I don't want to take my eye off that float because the bites can be flipping quick sometimes, but I'm going to do it. There we go, there's your marker there. Just throw some pellets in there. Now to start this, you can see that ground bait fizzing a little bit there. To start with, I'm just going to leave that for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, see what's what. Then if that's not working, what works really well this time of year, certainly for F1's, if they're watching your bait down, is lifting that rig out, flicking it in and drawing your float back and holding a tight line so the fish can, you know, watch your bait down. It works brilliantly well. So yeah, 2.5 foot we're starting off in. Now if I was to get, you know, liners, far lookers, things like that, nothing would stop me coming into even shallow water. That is the beauty I've got of having a swim like this where it's, you know, bare banking. I can naturally knock 8 inches off that float, come into slightly shallower water. They're probably quite happy in even shallow water than that, folks, you know what I mean? But as a starting point, as a reference point, always start off in that 2.5 foot. That's where, you know, the fish just seem to be, it's what you know, you pick up over the years. 2 to 3 foot as a starting guide. So the colder it is, the deeper you start off on these slopes. And then when it comes a little bit warmer, just, knock it off a little bit. Just come a little bit shallow water, but just let the fish tell you. Yeah, if you're not getting bites at that depth, then it might be that we need to come a little bit further out. But I'd imagine how it was the other day with catching that. Might take a little bit of time, might take a couple of feeds. Incidentally, like feeding wise, I'm not going to wait too long to start with. I'll probably put one more ground bait in after this, and that'll be it. I want to use me sort of like my hard pellets, if you like. Maybe the odd little sprinkling of micros. So I'm only going to wait maybe 3 minutes, something like that. And what you can do is just, again, pick a few. Oh, that was a little line. That went a bit slow then. Pick a few 4 mils up and throw them in around there. I'm going to count to sort of like 4, 5, then, ooh, had a little bite then. 4 or 5, and I'll lift that rig out and hold a tight line. So now my bait is going to be falling with that loose feed. So we know there's a fish there. It looked like a proper bite. That could have been a goujon. We had quite a few goujons the other day, little bug-wise. But we know there's a fish coming into the peg then. If you notice, we've got that little dink as I threw them 4 mils in. Just a little bit of noise like that can sometimes be all it needs. But to start off with, I don't want to ruin my peg, if you like. I don't want to keep coming back, putting loads of bait in, that kind of thing. I want the fish to tell me what they want. And obviously match conditions, yeah, I'd have both swims on the go. And you always find that one side's usually better than the other. But what I try and do is, catch a couple of fish from one side, go on the other side, catch a couple, that kind of thing, just like rotate the swims. But it's so good this time of year when them fish do want to come close and they're like actively eating. Really good. There you go, a little tiny dink. Now, what I'd normally do naturally is pick some bait up and throw it in over the top. Don't do that this time of year, folks. We've still got to be fairly accurate in our fishing. We'll get that back. They're proper angry little things, these fishes are. Little blooming angry. Where's he going? Flipping heck. Need to put more sections on then, Jakey. Now, bearing in mind, I've got my swim there when I'm fishing, so I don't want to net the fish that side. Net everything round this side. Or vice versa, if you have your top kit swim over that side, I wouldn't want to net them over there. Come on. Here we go. Beautiful F1 to start with them, folks. I say you think they're the stockies, but they're not actually stockies. They're nice blooming fish, them. Let me show you. Look at him. So he's like, it should be like 12 ounce, but he's like, it's a chunky little thing. He's over a pound, him. We'll start off with that one. Beautiful. Now I'm going to put another little bit of ground bait in, so that didn't take long at all, did it? Change that pellet. It's one of them, it's me, folks, isn't it? You could probably get away. Obviously, that's the beauty of hard pellet. It's nice, fast fishing using that same pellet. I would do when it warms up a bit, but I'm still a little bit cautious this time of year. So this time I'm going to introduce, what's that like? I can't end with 5, can I? Got 5 brown, 1 red one in there. Hard pellets. Tiny sprinkle in the micros again, probably 20, and then fill it back up with that ground bait. So another little bowl, and that'll probably be as much ground bait as I want to put in. I mean, don't get me wrong, some days they'll love that ground bait, but when they start eating and really start searching for that bait, you've got to be really careful, because obviously they'll come into your peg searching for that bait, and if there's no physical food there for them to eat, you could end up with a lot of liners, farlookers, things like that. So what I'm looking now is obviously I want to start building my peg, see if it's something to work from. So if we can get a bite fairly quick this time, drawing some fish in, then I'll just go in with 4 mils, tap a few of them in. Still feeding this swim here as well. Don't want to put loads in, as I say, but 2 to 4 all the time. So if there's no fish there and you're constantly putting bait in, then you've just got a massive build up of pellets on the bottom. We don't want that. We want them fish to come in nice and natural, eat that bait and just stay around there. That's what we want. It's a fabulous way of fishing. When you can catch them like this close, certainly in matches, it's brilliant. And it's how you can start off. Traditionally, you'd want to be starting off a cross, with a commotion, people walking around, nearly missed that one, but you saw how much quicker that one was. People walking around, but now you don't need to, folks. It's so good this time of year, isn't it? Oh. Now, I would say, if it was ready for netting, and he's over your swim, then obviously, yeah, net him over that side. I mean, he's not directly over my swim, but if you can be nice and quiet, he's going to go under the platform, this one, isn't he? If you can be nice and quiet and get that fish in. I want to scoop him, but I don't want to scoop him. There we go. Yeah, bring him right out there so you're not making loads of commotion. Plus, we've got like 4 foot of depth of water there, so it's not too bad. He is a beautiful one, and he is, Jakey, get in on him, please. 10 out of 10. Jakey's like that. I do an 11 out of 10, Andrew. Well, we can see after, can't we, folks? But there, 10 out of 10. Beautiful F1 him. He's getting over £2. So already we've got like just over £3 in the net in 2 fish. You know what I mean? In like no time at all. So I'm going to cut that ground bait out now and we'll see if it makes a difference. Yeah? So he's burgled the pellet, he has, actually. In fact, I'm going to put a red one on. Red ones were so much better the other day. Little baby red one on. I'm not going to put Michael's in as well. I'm literally just, oh, that's my ground bait. Literally just going to get some 4mm there. What have we got? 8 4mm. And just tap them. If we can get away with feeding, just give them a little dink in the water. If we can get away with feeding the 4mm, I think you get much more positive bites. You know what I mean? But it might be that we still need to draw fishing. I'm fast forwarding everything as usual, aren't I, folks? But it's this bit here. When you're tapping these 4mm in, that noise of rattling them in. Oh, so good. Right, back on my marker. Hold that tight line to that. Get some 4mm in there. I put 1 in too many of them, folks. I put 5 in. And then we just wait for that bite. It's so good. When them bites are like, dink. I mean, look how poised that float is. I've got a tiny, tiny little bit of bristle grease on. That's where it's sitting to. And you're just like poised waiting for them bites. But ultimately, this is what, and I'll fast forward everything. This is what I want to get to. I don't want to be putting loads of ground bait in. Certainly don't want to be putting loads of micros in, but as a start to get fish in your peg, getting them rooting, brilliant. But see, it was a bite, but I'd say that was a liner. It wasn't, Jakey's laughing, it wasn't a liner, it was a proper bite. It wasn't like that bite that we had before, which was doink, proper quick. Come on, Jakey, that was a liner. It wasn't, it was a proper bite, that. Well, this is what we want. I want to wean them off like the micros, the ground bait, and start getting them onto the hard 4mm, because once you get them there and you get them competing, because there's not loads of bait going in, it's so good. You just take your bait so much more confident, so much more natural, if you like, and that's what I want. Be wary of loose feeding. I mean, you can if you want, to draw some fish in, because ultimately, yes, if I want to loose feed a few there, I can do, but look at the spread I've got, which isn't a bad thing, because obviously they're going to be attracted to the noise. See, we had that bite again straight away just after I fed, which was slow, so it could have been a liner. So to me, it tells me I don't want to be loose feeding yet. But if I need to draw fish in, a little bit further down the line, then it's a great way of attracting fish into your peg with that noise, because ultimately I've still got that little babby pot on that really zones the fish in to where, to where I'm fishing, if you like. It's just like a nice reference point. 2 minutes, no, that's a liner. I'm not striking at that. You see how slow that is? So we know there's a fish there, so we're just waiting for him to find our pellet and have it. Just going to put another couple in on this swim here. Don't want to take my arm and blow my float though, folks, but I'm going to do it. Wait, I need to find out the markers. There we go. Catch another one there. The other thing to consider as well is where my back shot is to where my float is, that wind's just blowing that float out of position a little bit. That float's just come up a little bit as if it's just coming up the slope. Not overly bothered, but when them fish are like proper in on your, see that slow bite, that when them fish are proper in on your bait, it will sometimes make a difference. That it'll just take that a little bit longer for the fish to find your hook bait if you're not directly over your little pile, if you like. So it might be that fast forward a little bit too quick. Still, quite actively searching. They're wanting them smaller baits. But I want to go with the 4mm, tapping them in, creating that noise, creating the attraction. It's so good. We'll try and catch one more here, and then we'll have a do on that top cut line. Just gonna see what happens if I feed a few more again. There's 2 pellets gone in there. So the last couple of times I've fed, I've had signs straight away after I've fed. But what I'll do, lift that rig out and lay it in again, just so it's going down the same speed as them couple of pellets. So you see where I'm laying it in, it's religious every time, folks. You must flick the rig out, hold a tight line so it comes back onto that ledge nice and natural. And it'd be the opposite, you know, if you were fishing to a bank, lating towards you, and let it go up against the slope. So we've had a couple of signs this time, but it's not been as quick. But I just wanted to, talk you through what you'd be doing if you'd gone in, still feeding your micros, your little bit of ground bait. Watch for them funny bites, and that is when you cut them out and then go to start feeding your 4 mils. But I think I've just happened a little bit too quick at the minute, so I'm not going to leave it too much longer. I'll come back and I'll put a few more micros in. So there'll be days when you adore that ground bait, but that's usually like back end of the season, or once new stockers have gone in, or like really early season, that kind of thing. That's hard. So I'd probably have 3.5, 4 minutes, a little bit longer than what I'd want, because the fish that I've had have been in, within that time scale. I've had them 2 little signs. So what I want to do, I'm going to come back, feed this line again. I'm going to come back and then just go with a few micros and 4 mils again. So tiny few micros, get them in, and a few 4 mils. Don't want to put any ground bait in, but it might be, if I don't catch on this time, that I'll have to put ground bait in for a little bit longer. Flick that rig out, come back to a marker, put them pellets in, and then draw my float in. And then just get some pellets in there. Oh, my eyes are streaming with that wind blowing in my face, folks. Right, and then hold a tight line and we'll see what's what. If the response is a lot quicker, then obviously we know it's still right to put the micros in. And until we start getting foul hookers, liners, then that tells you that obviously what you're feeding is right, it's bang on. Come on. It's going to go. So you see how often I'm feeding that top kit line? Roughly about every minute. Not with loads of pellets. The longer you leave it, the better it's going to be. And then, as I say, you can just drop in on it, clatter a few, but you need to come off it. There'll be days when you can stay on it a little bit longer, but usually you need to rest it. It's bigger fish. Oh, that's one there. Generally, it's bigger fish that you catch on it. So again, it's just coming back a little bit, that wind. So I'm just going to go out a little bit further just to hold that float in position. So you see my back shots out now to where my float is. I've stretched out about another 3 inches on my mark. Oh, that was bumped. So that was a bumpy bump. Don't want them. Just check that pellet. He's all right. So if I had loads of them, feeding the micros, then that is when I'd cut them micros out completely. So I'm hardly putting any in, sort of like 20 to 30, and then 4 or 5 hard pellets as well. Ultimately, that's what I want to wean them onto. So ship that out, feed that in there, draw that float over. Get some bait in here. There we go. And wait for that bite. All about seeing, what's best for them on the day. But certainly when they get their heads into hard pellets, it's brilliant. This will be it now. All the way through till like September, October time, something like that. It's just nice, clean, easy fishing. But it's the beauty that you can attract these fish so short now that they're starting to having a feed as well. That's the beauty of it. It's a good job we don't have to go long, as I say, because it's struggle holding that blooming pole over there. It's mad. The other day, red pellets were like miles better than brown pellets. Just shows you every single flipping day is different. Every day is different. That's the beauty of fishing. Come on. When they do come into it in that shallow water, they normally give themselves up. You normally get like a little bit of a slow bite on your float. So you know there's one there. There's no mistake in it sometimes. Right in line with that. There we go. That was a nice fast bite. Get that bait in there. So, he's gone back for the feed, folks. He is not happy. He is not happy. Don't do me under my blooming platform. So we'll get this one we won't get this one in because it'll fall off, folks. But I said we get that one in. I can't end on not on a fish, so I'm going to go back in and change that pellet to a normal pellet. Might have been foul up. The bite looked nice and clean, but it might have been foul up. Just going to put a few more in there, so like 6 hard pellets in, and we'll go back to a tiny little nugget of ground bait. No micros, tiny little nugget of ground bait. So I've got me bait in there, my 4 mils, but I've not got the micros, which can get them too preoccupied. So with the ground bait, it's down, up, and it comes out straight away, and just draw that float into it. And then keep that going in there. Right, come on. Looked a nice clean bite, that. But it didn't... damn stockies fight weird. Sometimes they've got real soft mouth sometimes, and they do just fall off. It seemed like a proper bite. Come on, the fishies. That's what we're waiting for. Nice, fast dunks, which is like that one was. So again, I'm coming back to how often feeding this line. Not like dunk, dunk, dunk like you would for like, you know, drawing shallow. We don't want to do that. And I don't want to be putting loads of bait in. What have we got there? 3 pellets. But it's like religious every minute, something like that. It's just enough to, you know, that little bit of noise, keeping the fish interested, but not overly feeding them up. I don't want to put loads of bait there because it's not a swim where you're going to catch loads of fish. It's bonus fish. In quick succession as well, you can usually catch, you know, 2, 3, 4 fish really quick, but then you've got to rest it. That's why I'm constantly putting a little bit of bait in there. Just going to feed another few on that line as well. Again, that noise, I'm not bothered in the slightest that they're not on my float. It's that noise that attracts the fish. Because as I say, I've got that pot on, I am feeding exactly on my float. Lift that rig out and lay it in. And you'll eventually find, or you just get into a pattern, what them fish want. That's it. Lovely, that. Just lovely when, you know, everything sits perfect, that float comes in perfect. Tap your little bit of bait in, you set your little trap, and you get that tiny little dink. It's brilliant. So good fishing. Oh, shivered a bit then. So we know there's a fish. Oh, I'm going to say we know there's a fish there, and blooming went and missed it. They're not goujons, they're F1's. They could be goujons, them folks. You know what I mean? If I get another one, we'll come back feed it again. They're not, are they? They're going to be F1's, aren't they? Do me head in. But that's how quick they are. Yeah, you've just got to be proper on it. You don't want loads there. And that's obviously the worst thing about micros. Brilliant for attracting them in the first place, but if you kept putting them in, you just get too many, you know, false bites, liners, things like that. So that's why ultimately I want to wean them onto the 4 mils. Which is why that time I just fed 4 mils with that little nougat of ground bait. I'm not going to leave it too much longer before I come back. There's another one there. Probably the same blooming fish. Before I come back and feed again. Which is what I'm going to do. Go on the fishies. I know there's one there, so I'm a bit reluctant to come back. Come on. Yeah, Mum. Just see that float moving out. So you know there's one there, it's just got to find me bait. And that's another reason you don't want to put loads of bait in. You can pick your bait out. So at this stage here, where we've had sort of like them 2 or 3 fairly quickly, this is where, if I had another swim, you know, we knew he was there. This is where I'd be resting this swim now and moving over to right-hand swim. So it leads us perfectly into, we can go into that top kit swim now. 100% it needs a rest. So we had them, you know, we had them few bites and a couple of fish quick. That one fell off. And this one took that little bit longer to catch. Why are they coming over here? Come on, come over this side so I can net you over here. Not ideal for Jakey, but so he's a proper little stocky. But even he's like, look how chunky they are. I'm going to show him, yeah. Frontwards on, look how chunky they are. Proper little things, them, aren't they? He's probably blooming 10 ounce, 8, 10 ounce, something like that. The proper chunky little things. 8 out of 10, that one, folks. 8 out of 10. Right, so if I was, which is 100% what I'd do if I was in a match, I still won't be on this line now, but I'm going to have a go in it anyway. I would, this is what I'd do. So put that into my little hook up there. I'd get my micros out simply because I'm not going to be fishing that one potentially for 5-10 minutes whilst I fish my other swim if I was in a match or I was pleasuring. But I'd still pick out a few micros, still get me 4 to 8 pellets, and I still put my little bit of ground bait in. Now it might be that once you change sides, because usually you always find one side better than the other, that it's like really good. You might have a run of like 10 to a dozen fish. If that 10 to a dozen fish is over 20 minutes, make sure you keep going in and feeding your other swim, certainly within 10 minutes, you know, sort of 5 to 10 minutes, that kind of thing, because you've got to keep them on the go. And when they get proper onto it can be really quick. So this is all I'll be doing. I'll be going back, putting my bait in, keeping that topped up, yeah? And then what I'll do, if you have me right swim on the go, I'll be over here fishing that one. But we have got our top kit swim. Can't wait to try this one, folks. So 4mm pellet on, no pot on this one, because remember, it's all about loose feeding, getting that noise in. If we can catch one, it'd be flipping amazing. Might be a bit early. Now again, 4 foot, I'm flicking this rig out so it comes back onto the ledge. You must, even more important, line up with your markers on this one, simply because the ledge is really severe on a lot of these snake lakes, and make sure you're on your marker. So bring that back. My puller kit is over my front leg, and I'm on. There's like a cut down bit of tree in the bank over there that I'm on, and get them pellets in. So remember, sort of like, what we're saying, 2 to sort of 6 pellets, no more than that. Just bring that back up a little bit. There we go. So you can see, it just brought it up that shelf a little bit. I'm on my marker there. And then we're just waiting again. Nice fast bites we should get there. Don't want to lift and drop. Simply because we're not on flat bottom there, we're on that slope. But what we can do is similar to what we did on that short, on the margin swim, lift the rig out, lay it in so it's coming back down nice and natural onto that slope. We can do that after we've fed some pellets. And it's just getting into that rhythm now. Every sort of minute, 90 seconds, just pick a few pellets up and just throw them in on that line. It's a fabulous way of fishing, it really is. But it's not, as I say, it's not one of them where, or is it? It can be at times, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. You can like do a silly weight at times here. Oh, that was a little dink then. But usually it's 2, 3, 4 fish. You've got to come off it, prime it, rest it again. But then coming into like the last hour of a session, it can be that you just stay there and catch one a chuck. And usually it's like them great big ones. This is where the carp will come and things like that. So obviously, you want to make sure you're fishing away from like your keep nets and that. I mean, it's pretty deep here, so the keep nets are going straight down if you're in a match or anything like that. And it's one of them. It's just a case of waiting. So what I'm going to do this time is pick my 4 pellets up, throw them in, count to sort of, because it's a bit deeper there, I'm going to count to sort of like 6, 7, lift my rig out, and then lay it in again, and then hold that tight line to my float. So make sure I'm on my marker, hold that tight line to my float. It might be that it doesn't go, folks, but it'd be nice if it did. And then it's just a little bit down on that slope, so I'm just going to bring that back up and into play. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. And it's just a case of waiting now. There's enough bait gone in there. I'm happy with that. So I think it's just a case of waiting. Just keeping on with that, topping up regular. So there's a fish there then. Just move my float out a little bit. So I know there's one coming. Okay, I'm just waiting for that nice fast bite. Come on. Come on. The beauty of, like, obviously starting on pellets as well is that we can change it potentially to maggots. Now, my only issue sometimes with maggots is the amount of SHIT fish that you get when the fish start feeding proper. And certainly on here, COVID-free, there's millions of little rudding, whereas you eliminate all them fishing with pellets. That's why I love fishing pellets. If I can get away without feeding maggots, then I would do. But you've always got that in your locker if you need to. You can always change. But it's one of them. You can't. Oh, that was a slow bite. That was a liner. Didn't want to strike at that. So we know there's one there though. You've always got that option of changing. It doesn't really work the other way around. If you're starting off on maggots and go to pellets, it doesn't really work that way. It's always better starting off on pellets and going to maggots if you need to. Yeah, there's some venues where it works phenomenally well. But you've just got to be mindful of how many small mouths there are with maggots. That's the only issue. So pellets eliminates all that. I'm just going to put some more pellets in. We had a bit of a drive-by then. I didn't strike because it was too slow. Yeah, there's a fish coming into it. We just need it to find our bait. Still there. The float's moving around a little bit. Make sure I'm on my marker. Definitely still there. But longest I'd wait if I've been feeding it. I've been feeding it for quite a while, 15, 20 minutes maybe. I would expect a fish to be there. Certainly if I was in a match or I was pleasuring, I'd wait a good hour, 90 minutes sometimes on this line before I even tried it. So obviously we've gone on it a little bit early. Usually when you go on it, your bites, because you've been priming it for so long, you've got the fish confident, you normally get a response, pretty quick. And if you don't, then 5 minutes, I'm going to say, is long enough for you to give it that good go, come off it, and then just go back on your other swims. So what we'll probably do, if we don't get a bite in the next 90 seconds, then what I'll do, I'm just going to give it another lay-in. Let them settle a little bit. I'm just going to give it another lay-in because I know there's a fish there then. And if I don't catch one within sort of 2 minutes, I'm going to show you the beauty of resting a swim. So that'll have been rested sort of 5-10 minutes maybe. If I come back to that, I should get we had a bite then. That was a fast bite. So that's probably come into them pellets. So let's see if he's still there. Yeah, we're resting that swim. It doesn't take long this time of year when they get going. 5-10 minute rest, and then they can be back on it, really, really quick. That's the beauty of it. So I'm not going to give it long. It'd be nice to catch one. There's a definite bite, that. Come on. Come on, F1's. Oh, carp. It might be carp there as well. Carp love that little bit deeper water. But generally they're, the last fish to wake up, carp. Put another couple of pellets in. Come on. My marker. It's poised. Everything's poised, folks. If it doesn't go, give it another minute. If it doesn't go, then obviously we know it's we've just gone on it too early. But 100%, that is where you're going to, do quite a bit of damage in your sessions if you just keep priming it. Come on. Go on. But then you can be confident. Yes, we knew we'd catch one, didn't we? So as soon as you've got one, it's a small one as well. As soon as you've got one, just get some bait back in. And that's how quick you catch them, yeah? So, is he 10 out of 10? He's not quite 10 out of 10. But that's how quick you can get them there. When it sort of almost shocks them in a way. But make sure, as soon as you hook one, get some feed in. So I'm just going to show you, hopefully, they're going to play ball, these fish. I'm not going to go back there, but probably took 5 minutes to catch that fish. I was right on the edge of coming off it then and going back down the margin. But if I was pleasuring, I'd probably have another do there. The longer you can leave a swim to rest and get back to normal so the fish get confident, the better. But I'm going to hopefully show you what I mean by resting. I'm going to come back down this margin again, so it's had a good 8 to 10 minute rest, I'd say, and see if we can catch one fairly quick. Please don't show me up, fishies. I do know what I'm talking about sometimes, folks. Please don't show me up. So, no ground bait. Just put in a few. We've got 6 4mm in. Sound like bloody Jamie of the Yowers, don't I? Can't me blooming pellets in. What has he done to me, folks? And then we're timing a little bit of ground bait again. Get that into position. So, rig out on your marker. There's my marker there. And draw that float in. And just keep a little bit of dink. Keep a little bit of bait going in there. There we go, that was my back shot, that. Just lift that up a little bit. There we go, perfect. So we should get a bite fairly quick this time because it's been rested. You know, we haven't been on it for a bit, so you see there's a fish there straight away. That's a line, I don't want to strike at that. And he's moved it all the way back, so I'm going to lift that out, lay it in again. Yeah, so you get to know what a proper bite is, folks, and what obviously a liner is. A proper bite is doink, nice and quick. A liner is like fish just swimming into your feed, and the float just goes left, right, or down really slow. Don't strike at them because you'll foul hook them. So hopefully that fish will still be in their vicinity. We're going to be, oh, yeah, he's still there, folks, he's still there. So I'm just going to move my float out, my pole out to the right. That fish has just brought that float into the banking a little bit there. You see, we're bang on our feed. So we're just waiting for that fish to find our bait, our hook bait. We know there's one there. But you see how quick that was from, you know, giving it a rest to going straight back in. You know, the sign straight away. And you're just looking at building the swims up again there. Come on. Oh. Still there. One of ones. Oh, the stockies, a little stocky mirror. That one that fell off might have been a stocky mirror. Felt a bit bigger. Nah. I don't know if that was a proper bite or not. It was quick, but it's like it was something that was brushing against the line. Probably was, wasn't it? This time, folks, this time. Come on. A bit more bait in there. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so you see that's been, might have been a couple coming, been there for quite a while then. So it just shows you the difference, you're resting it a little bit, yeah? You get signs a hell of a lot quicker. But, you know, I wouldn't have gone on that one, I'd have gone the other side, if that makes sense. I'd have had another swim the other side of me if I could have done. And just alternated like that. It's a decent F1, this one. Let's bring it over here so Jakey can see. Because we'll end on this one. Come on. God, they're blooming angry, aren't they? They don't half wake up quick. Let's bring it this way. Come on. It's a decent one, I think, this one. I need to blooming use my puller, don't I, folks? There we go. Said what? Is it is it a stocky carp? It's a nice one. There we go. There we go. What a fish to end on. Look at that. Easy, is he? Oh, he's 9. 9 out of 10. Can't claim a 10 out of 10 for that one, folks. But what stunning fish to end on. Probably getting on for £2 him. So, right, let me get this this rig away here. And then we'll just have a bit of a recap of what we've done. So, remember, obviously, with it warming up, the fish are quite happy to come into that shallow water, which is, it's so good when they get their heads down, they get feeding in that shallow water. You don't need to bother about all that over there. Start off your session short, yeah? What I'd be doing if I was in a match or was pleasuring, 100% I'd have chosen a swim this side as well, so I could have gone and alternated them because they're quite happy to come into that shallow water. You saw when we went on that 4-foot swim, they weren't there confident, but 100,000,000% that'll change as the session goes on, yeah? There's a bit of a sign there, then we had that fish, but if I'd left it like if we carry on rolling for another hour, that swim would like, it'd be lift off. But as it is, you saw when we went back on that one, we give it a little babby rest, 5 or 10 minutes, and there were fish there, signs of fish straight away. So take your time with the feeding. Remember, get the fish there in the first place. So ground bait, micros. Once they're there, try and wean them onto the 4 mils. Otherwise, you'll just get too many liners, phyllockers, things like that. If you're still not getting signs on the 4 mils, you saw we went back to the ground bait, and that again drew the fish back in. So it might be that that'd last for a bit, then you'd have to cut that out completely. But I just flipping love this time of year. I love fishing, don't I? But this time of year, when they get the reds down, you can give them a bit of bait, and it's nice, clean fishing. It's just phenomenal. And you won't catch the shit fish usually on pellets. If we were to put maggots in, could have got mired with them. But, they love maggots, but when you can get them onto pellets, it's far, far better. So I hope you've enjoyed that, folks. I have. I flipping loved it. I'm carrying on. Well, in fact, no. You know how this works by now, don't you? I've got to go and get bruising, and Jakey's got to hop on the box and catch some fishes, hasn't he? In fact, I'll go and check on Minnie as well. So please, please, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and that's going to tell you when we're putting out these fantastic videos for you all. Hey, go on, the fishies.